good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of LKD Talks. My name is Emmanuel LKD, and let's unplug and be real for a sec. Now, today, I got a special guest on. I've known this man since 2018. Please welcome Mike Ike. Yeah.
How's it going?
How's it going, Mike? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good too, man. I'm good too. It's a Saturday morning. We're chilling. It's gonna be a chill day. So, Mike, is your name actually Mike Ike?
Yes and no. So, Ike is an abbreviation for my full last name, which is Ikechukwu, Nigeria.
Nigerian. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool how it kind of worked out. You know, it's like Eminem or Mike Ike, like the candy. I like that. All right, Mike. So for the people who don't know you, can you give a rundown about who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
So my name is Mike Ike. I go by Hey Mike Ike. I'm a producer and I won't say content creator, but I'm a producer and I make beats in the Christian hip hop space. Why do I do it? Because I think that there's a lot of negative in the music space currently, and Christian hip hop is a great way to release the positive message of Jesus that the world really needs, to be quite frank. And so, yeah.
Got you. And just to kind of push on that, would you only cater your beats to Christian artists, would you say, or would you give it to all artists?
So I wouldn't cater my beats to only Christian hip hop artists because hip hop is bigger than just CHH, right?
Yeah.
But I think the content that I would make per se would be something that represents Christ, if that makes sense. So like, oh, this is gonna get into the big, Christian rapper versus rapper that's a Christian. But the way that I see it is that you have your decision that you've made to have a relationship with Christ. And by living that out, you kind of just, your message is seen by everyone else and they can see that you are different, and it'll kind of pique someone's interest, and they'll ask the question, why is that, which gives you the opportunity to share why it is that you're different. So it isn't necessarily like forcing Jesus down people's throats. It's just like, this is me, and this is why I do what I do, and I'd love to share my experience with you. Yeah.
Right. It's like just sharing your story. That's really all it is. Just sharing your story, who you are, why you're living in that lifestyle. Yeah, I hear you with that. So then, if an artist who approaches you talks about, I don't know, killing bears or whatever, would you give your beat to them?
Well, with with technology, it's so easy to get beats. So, and I have a beat store, so like if they get a beat, then they get a beat. But like if they're gonna work with me, I guess it's different guidelines per se. Because there's, a set of, there's a criteria that you gotta hold yourself to, a standard,
Yeah, I see. So it's kind of like if that bear killer rapper, if they put out a song with your beat, you're not gonna endorse that or whatever. Like you're not gonna promote them or anything like that. But like if it's someone that you rock with, then you will promote it in a way, right? Yeah. So something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because I know for me, for myself as an artist, sometimes I'll hop on a feature, but the song isn't that good. So this sounds really bad, but like I won't promote that song because that song's not good. it sounds. I've done it in the past. I've done it in the past
Mhm.
though. Like not now. I would say,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, it happens. But I mean, here's one way to think about it. If there are some songs where people only listen to because they like the artists who features on it, not even because they like the
mm,
people who are on the song. So even if you create a song and you personally don't like how it sounded, but you did your best, you want to promote that.
true, true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking right now. There's a lot of artists, uh, right now, currently like big artists like Drake. You know, he's featured on a lot of other artist stuff like Black Boy JB. Um, what's that one song goes? Prada Gucci don't go together. Smiley, I think that's his name. I don't know if you know that song. But yeah, like there's a lot of artists that like Drake features on, and then the artists are just kind of average at best. Like
Mhm.
they're all right. Like they're not horrible, but they're like not someone I'll listen to. But people listen to it because it's Drake, you know? Like
Yeah,
I mean, who doesn't love Drake, you know?
yeah. But I mean, the idea is that like what when you're featuring with an artist, you're sharing eyeballs per se. Like your
Mm,
audience, the feature art's audience, come together to all view that song, right? And so
true.
that's why people love to feature with bigger artists because they get more eyeballs to their song, which maybe they'll listen to like what they have to say and say, oh, okay, maybe I'll check out the rest of his discography, but it's up to them.
True. Yeah, and also I think excuse me, I think also with the eyeballs, I like what you said about sharing eyeballs. Like that's really what features and collaborations do. Because
Yeah.
you just get more people, you just get more people to view your stuff and stuff like that. And something I kind of want to go to as well, just kind of switch the topic over. We talked about this off camera about like networking in person versus networking online.
Yeah.
Now, me and Mike, we've known each other online since 2018. Like we've never met in person at all. But Mike was talking about how lately in the past year he's been going to different events and just networking that way. So how was that experience for you, Mike? Like networking in person versus online?
Well, if you'll notice, I haven't been very active online per se. Like I just recently posted a story series yesterday, but like post wise, I've been kind of silent. And what I've been doing is, well, making music in the background, and then going to in person events with a couple friends because we all enjoy CHH, and there's a bunch of events that are happening like all over the country in different parts wherever it's popping, like Florida, Georgia, Boston. And so when something happens, me and my friends, we come together and we'll get tickets and then we'll carpool and go to that event, meet all the artists because there's so many artists within that like location that you'll find that you had no idea were there. Um, and then basically I spend my time just meeting people, saying hi, connecting over social media. So like we have that level of connection. But then the ones that like we really vibe with, I choose to talk further and maybe make music together. That happened in one of the last events that I went to. I ended up actually like going up and staying over for a day. We made a song that's not released yet, so don't look for it. um, but that's been my networking strategy as of late.
Okay. Like so how often do you go out then? Like every week, every 2 weeks, every month?
Um, right now it's been mostly the bigger events. Like when I see a lot of promotion being pushed for maybe it's iron sharpen iron because that's a conference that I'm thinking right now, but I haven't gone to that one. But like where you see a lot of bigger names are like headlining, then you know that there's also going to be other people who are on the come up trying to network with other people, and so those are the types of events that I go to, and those happen like once every 3 months. It seems
Oh, okay.
around there.
Okay. So like the big, so you go to more of the bigger conferences than the smaller outings, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because it's one money it's easy on the wallet.
Oh, true, 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 true. Yeah, you're right.
uh, and two, I'm also very engaged in my local scene. So I'm from Connecticut, and whenever there's a concert or event that's happening within Connecticut, then I will, make my way over to that. Those don't happen as frequently because the population is kind of small, but
Mhm.
that also factors into it. So it's maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 months, depending.
Okay. Okay, nice. So honestly, for me, man, I've been kind of, I think for me, a reason I haven't really been networking as much. I mean, lately I have been because my friend owns a studio called Next Wave Studios. Shout out Next Wave Studios, where I go out, help with the video shoots, and meet other rappers, meet other artists, meet other people in the Madison, Wisconsin area. I go to the studio, like I try to go every week, every twice every week, and I meet some cool people, and that's my way of networking. But like I never went to any of the local events or any concerts, mainly because I didn't really know anyone. So like, have you ever gone to any events just by yourself, or did you always go with friends?
Let me think. Majority of the concerts or events that I have gone to have been um actually, now I think about it, no, I have gone like by myself, but they're usually in the very smaller scale events within Connecticut because it's light on the wallet.
Yeah.
um, but like the major ones that I'm talking about, I usually carpooling or coming together with a group of friends.
Okay. Okay. So like, okay, so like with those events, I'm just trying to think of, because I was gonna ask, like how did you kind of step out of your comfort zone to go to events? Because I know for me, like I mean, right now there's not really a lot of events going on because it's winter time, but I know something that someone else told me that in the summertime there's a lot more events. Uh,
That's true.
so I guess really, I mean, like I guess I don't even have to ask the question. I just have to just go out and do it, right? Just go out
Yeah,
and do it. Like,
I mean, here's one way to think about it. Everybody is going there for the same purpose: to one, to enjoy music that's going on during the showcase, and two, to meet other people. So if you go and show up to a place, you're gonna ask them, "Where are you from? And what do you do?" And more than likely, it's gonna be some sort of, "Oh, I make music," or "I shoot videos," and "I do this," because I can't think of shoot videos, photos,
mhm,
and then you can introduce yourself. I also do that, or I do something similar, and build that
true,
or start that conversation that way.
true, true. Yeah, I think like a part of me too is just kind of overthinking. Whereas like, oh man, like if I go meet these people, is it really worth it? It's a lot of work, you know. It's like I have to know this person like individually, and it's like, but that's like I'm just thinking back on it now. That's honestly the name of the game of just networking. You just gotta, it's work, networking. You know, I mean,
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Man, I remember just looking back on our conversations too, like, because like me and Mike, we haven't really caught up with each other in a while. So I kind of like scroll back at our old texts and stuff. And like something I remember just like always seeing from Mike is that you've been creating a lot of different types of content, like taking photos. I remember you set up a mailing list at one point. You do productions. Do you do consultations too? Is that right?
Well, it's not something that I promoted actively, but like, yeah, something that I do infrequently to people who ask.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, and just like I'm just looking back at like everything that you've created. Like, I think it's totally normal for creatives to go into that route to just create everything for themselves because you kind of have to. Because one, it's light on the wallet, just using what you're saying, and like, and honestly, I kind of find myself going through that phase right now. But like, have you ever been told to just find a niche and stick with one? Because I know that's a very common theme that I hear from people to creatives, like these gurus to creators, like you gotta find a niche and just stick with it, stick with it, stick with it.
So yeah, I have heard that it's a common advice in like the marketing space. Find your niche. Something that I have learned as of recently is that well, that's kind of we are very multifaceted, right? And so the way to stand out, I guess, is well, not I guess, but the way to stand out is by being yourself. And since you have all these different likes, they're all different. They all make up you in a sense. So like, yes, you like anime, and you like being funny, and I don't know what that hairy thing is on your door, but you like that too. um, and like people who will also like those things are going to gravitate towards you as long as you keep, creating content around that are those, pillars that you want to be known for, you know?
Mhm.
So that's my take on it these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like something I just remembered too is that you're doing marketing too. So like, what are some of the biggest things? Okay, let's just make it three or four if you want to add more, or just feel free to add however many big things that you've learned from marketing. So what are the biggest things that you've learned from marketing from, whether it's your job or school that you can kind of tell creatives that they don't really know about, if that makes sense?
They don't really. That's I don't know what they don't know. So that's catch 22.
Mm.
But um
Or something that you wish you knew. How about that? Something you wish you knew when you were first starting out.
um okay, so what I wish I knew was that it is important to start a mailing list, and not to overthink what you're mailing them because people are on the list to hear from you. So
Mm,
whatever you got going in your life is probably going to be interesting, as long as relates to what they came for you for. So if it's LKD Talks, you can send whatever you're creating that week.
mm,
And people will be created. People will be interested. So that's one. Oh, that's two. Start a mailing list and don't overthink what you're sharing. Uh,
mm,
Three would be to the idea of consistency, which is not something that I didn't know. It's just something that I struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of other creators struggle with that. But it's just focus on one thing at a time and get that one thing done, and then repeat.
mm. Yeah, it's pretty simple, huh? It's simple, but it's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, simple and easy are two different things.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because like I feel like after creating for so long, you can kind of get lost in just the whole process and forget your why. That's something like I try to remind myself all the time as I'm creating is remember your why, remember your why. Why are you creating this? Like I'm creating this because I enjoy this, you know, I want to share my gifts with the world. I want to inspire people. And sometimes you can get burnt out, you know, like burnt out with social media, it's like posting every day. Like, have you ever been burnt out? I mean, like, I'm not gonna assume, but like, just kind of switching the topic a little bit, segueing into like how I've noticed that you've been kind of MIA on social media, but I see that you're living life as well, you know, like working out and you know, like you're making money, man. You're going to these local events and stuff like that. So without getting too personal, why have you been off the grid?
Um, I would say that I have been in my own way per se. So there was a lot of mental things, mental, what do you call it?
Mental like battles?
Mindset stuff that was kind of in the way. Like, um, first, the idea of like perfectionism, because like whatever I wanted to post, I wanted it to be the best. And if it wasn't the best, then it wasn't gonna get posted, which means nothing got posted. And
Yeah.
it's been like that for a while. But like I'm learning that it doesn't. Well, one, perfection isn't a thing, and two, that like you can make bad stuff. Like give yourself permission to make poor stuff, because from that you will be able to actually make the better stuff. It's kind of like a faucet almost. Once you let it run for a bit, then you'll start to see all the good stuff that you got. uh, I think that answers your question.
Okay. Okay, nice. So like, and I know that because you've been off the grid, it sounds like you've been able to live life more to the fullest and like actually experiencing it. So how does it feel to kind of be off socials but like living more?
Good. It's
I
like,
would assume so.
I mean, yeah, we kind I know I did for a while, get lost in the social media type of thing. Like we forget that there's actually a life outside of social media, and seeing what other people do, and like knowing that what you're seeing on social media is also like the curated version of someone's life. So
Mm,
like there is so much that that's happening that you don't know about, and you kind of get a altered view of people almost.
mm.
And so it's best to kind of unplug from all the input and kind of get back to life.
Yeah, right. I hear you with that. I hear you. I'm really kind of curious to see what life was like before social media. Like I know that sounds like such a young person thing to say, but but like I'm really curious, like people our age back in I want to say 1960s. Like that's crazy that you kind of like you made me think about okay, so first of all, I really like what you said about how we have this curated, you know, social media is this curated uh feed about other people's lives. I really like what you said about that because it makes me think about how it's almost like we're trying to one up each other in a way on socials. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it
crazy.
goes that way.
It's crazy because it that's what made me think about I wonder what life was like before social media. And again, there's such a young person, you know, Gen Z thing to say, but it's true. Like we take for granted the interactions that we kind of have in person. And something like for me, at least, I remember back in high school, like these seniors would follow me on Instagram. I was like a freshman. Then they would unfollow me, and then I viewed them as in a certain way. I'm like, oh, they don't rock with me like that, and it just made me bitter towards them. I'm just thinking back. I'm like, dang, man, like, bro, that like, and it just made me not want to interact with them at all. And then I just kind of lost, you know, a relationship, outside of social media with them, because social media isn't everything, is what I've realized. Like we we put so much power in a like and a follow. And then I remember like I tweeted that, and then you retweeted that and you said, subscribe for more. But yeah, that's crazy, bro. Like you're just making me think about how we put so much power in that.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to call it. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. It's just not good. It's not good. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, like, that's dope, seeing you, getting your grind in, like feeling yourself, woo, like Super Saiyan mode, man. Yeah, man. That's dope. That's dope though. And like, man, it's just like I was talking with someone else this past week about appreciating life and like how we really take the little things for granted. And like yesterday, bro, like yesterday I was just driving down the road with my friend, and like there was snow and stuff, and we just saw the trees, like because there was like a snowstorm that happened, and then like there was snow on the branches and stuff, and then the snow like froze, so it was like icy. It looked like Narnia, bro. Like Narnia when you open the wardrobe and then you see the winter wonderland. Like stuff like
Mm.
that is beautiful, bro. Like what's something that you've appreciated more that you're kind of off socials more?
Um, well, my friends, my friends that my friends that I meet in real life, the ones that I go to coffee shops with and chat and stuff like that. Especially since recently one of them passed, so it's been
I'm
really,
sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear.
yeah, it's been you really you really start to think about like how finite life is, and oh, it's got dark shit. But it's
Mm,
1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're not. So like, take a moment to appreciate different people in your life.
mm. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think about like I have some like yeah, man. Like that makes me kind of want to reach out to people now. You know what I mean? Just reach out to people I haven't talked with in a while. Might do that after this podcast. Yeah, man. That's a great reminder. Yeah, that's a good reminder. And like, so I was kind of looking back at other old texts that we've had as well. And I've noticed that like when we were first starting out, man, like I think you were a little more in the game than I was, like back in 2019, I think, or maybe we're on the same level, but you had a lot more knowledge because I think you're older than me, right?
Maybe,
Yeah, how
probably.
old are you? Yeah,
Yeah.
how old are you?
Oh, I'm 25.
Oh, 25. Oh, I'm 22. Yeah, so you have more knowledge and wisdom than me. So like I remember like you would give me gems and ideas of what to do because I had these different talents and gifts. And then I just feel bad because like I'm looking back, I'm like, dang, I never went through with those. So like, how do you feel when you see people who have potential but never go through with it?
Well, I mean, it's like this. Not a lot of people want to be told what to do. So like, even if I give you like, hey, you have these talents, you should probably do this. You're gonna be like, okay, and then go back and do whatever you're doing because you didn't come up with that idea, so you probably don't it doesn't hold as much weight, you know.
Mm.
And that so I'm not sure how to answer the question, but what do you know? You said people who don't live up to their full potential. So if you don't have the idea, you're probably not going to put, you know, in the effort that you would had you come up with the idea and say, all right, this is what I'm doing, and I don't have any, or I don't want anything else, you know. So I think that everybody has potential, um, and they it's up to them to choose whether or not they believe that they can meet that potential, surpass that potential, come up with bigger, greater goals to that they can reach. Um, yeah, that's my train of thought stop. So I'll stop there.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, like, it really is all about people's own choice. Like, I'm not sure if you've ever heard this quote before, but there's this quote that goes, "You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink." It's like that. It's like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because like, I mean, just looking back, I mean, like, I wish I would have taken your advice back then because I feel like I could have gone farther. Uh, but like, because like looking back at younger me, I felt like I kept making excuses and was scared. I was scared to be honest, like, trying to get out the comfort zone in the same way with like, going out to different events, which I'm definitely gonna do. I just gotta do it. And like, do you ever feel like some days you are combating that potential? If that makes sense, like where you have the potential, but some days you feel like you're just sitting and not doing anything, and you're like, "Dang, like man, like I could be doing something right now, but I'm tired." And like, so how do you combat the feeling of not feeling like you're living up to your potential? If that made sense.
Hmm. The way that that's a good question. Um, could you rephrase it in another way?
Yeah, yeah. So like, how do you kind of, or how do you just kind of like overcome your uh overthinking, I guess. Like,
Mm,
sometimes we'll overthink like, man, I feel like I could be doing so much more, but I'm on the right track, right?
yeah.
Like
So,
those questions that we ask ourselves.
gotcha. I think all right. I learned this from a guy named Alex Hermosi.
Hmm.
Sure you've heard of him or seen him. He's really big and has
Yeah, big
a
millionaire.
bunch of members. Oh, he has a lot of money too, but no
Yeah.
one thinks about that. So basically, his advice was instead of setting goals, just like focus on the actions to take the goal that will lead up to the goal. So
Mm,
if you're thinking I'm not up to my potential, all right, what does that potential look like? What is that goal that you are aiming towards? And then what are the steps that you would need to take to reach that goal? And then just focus on the steps.
mm,
And that way you just like, okay, I got this step done.
mm, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, because I feel like we're always so uh looking at the grander scheme of things, like, oh, like I need to do this big thing or whatever, and then we kind of get lost in the sauce, and then we're just we're just kind of just like sitting there, like, dang, what's next, man? I feel that. I feel that. It's kind of like you can't make a house without having the blueprints first. Like
Yeah,
just do it brick by brick, Will Smith style. Brick by brick.
exactly.
I like that. I like it. Yeah, that's a good reminder. That's a good reminder. Sweet. So now, Mike, is there anything that's on your mind this is the part of the podcast where I like to shift it to the guest if they like to share anything that's been on their mind lately that's, either been light or heavy or just anything that's just kind of on your mind that you just want to share.
So recently, I how do you say this? Well, what's been on my mind has been, well, I mentioned my recent friend passing, and so like that really uh irked me because I had no idea like where he was spiritually, and my recently I have been so I'll try to find the way to put it, but I come into a new understanding of who Jesus is, and like my faith has been different. And
Mm,
so what basically I went to talk to one of my friends after one of my other friends after hearing about the news and just like figuring out like, where are you like spiritually, because like it's an important question to answer, like what happens after like where are you going after you die,
mm-hmm,
and people should have an answer to that. Some people don't. And like the idea is that, or the thing that I have been thinking about is like the whole Christian message, bro. How Jesus came to the world to live the life that we couldn't, and um, died for us, and then rose to basically repair that connection, so that we have a choice whether or not we want to accept His gift. Um, and that's been on my mind, and thinking of ways like, how do I live this out daily
mm,
so that I can present that gift, or that opportunity for others people to like, hey, do you want this gift? Because Jesus made it free,
mm-hmm.
Um, that's just been on my mind as of late.
Mm. I feel that, man. I feel that. That's good. Yeah, that's a good question for us Christians to kind of ponder and think about because we do honestly get lost in the sauce and like uh, like I don't mean that to like sound funny like but yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and yeah, like I'm sorry about your friend, man. And that's a great question. It's a deep question, and I think it's an uncomfortable question too. Like that we have to ask ourselves is like how are we actually living? Because you and me are both Christians. To people who aren't listening, I mean, to people who aren't Christian and are listening, I hope that you can still be encouraged by what we're saying and gain a new perspective on how we live and how we want to live. And like going back to what I said about us being lost in the world and just kind of just kind of forgetting, just kind of going through the motions, we do kind of forget how we ought to live, you know and it's not like it's not like a forced way of living, but it's a way that we want to live, you know what I mean? If we want to reflect who Jesus is, if we want to reflect who God is, then we want to live in the way that he desires for us to live, And so I kind of want to ask you, how have you been? Oh man, this is getting deep, man. Like I'm just pausing and this is the most I've kind of paused because I'm deep in thought, but how have you been reflecting on your life and how you live? Like what are some ways and techniques that you've used to kind of reflect on yourself to kind of actually go live it out?
Um, well, one, like reading the Bible, it helps. Though I will be the first to say that not everything makes sense. So when that happens, I have a community of people that I can reach out to and like talk about what I was reading and figure out what it's supposed to say, what does that look like in practicality, and like how do I apply it to my life. And then these people also keep me accountable. Shout out to Hang Loose. And so, yeah, but basically, one, reading the Bible, two, finding accountability. And accountability is yeah, basically that. Reading the Bible, find accountability, then, you know, live what you've learned.
Hmm. Yeah, and something to add on with accountability too, because I have the small group that I meet with every Wednesday night, and we kind of just get together. Like right now, we're going through the Bible. Like, we're doing the Bible plan about reading the Bible in a year, and there's a lot of new insights that we get from different parts of the Bible, like the Old Testament or the book of Isaiah or Leviticus, all those laws and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
just kind of getting an understanding. Like we'll ask questions, we'll ask like deep questions with each other and stuff like that. And then it's a great way too, because everyone has a different perspective, but everyone also has what's that perspective? Everyone has their own knowledge and things that they've learned or they've heard people say or their parents or pastors told them. And like I love the community aspect when it comes to growing because we really need people, we're people. So we need people to grow. We need people to keep ourselves accountable. So I really like what you said about accountability and just reading the Bible and just getting a community that you can speak with. And something else I want to say too, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Give me a moment. I'm sorry.
No, it happens all the time to me. It's okay.
So, like, would you consider yourself okay, like this is kind of just in general now, whether it's, living it out or marketing or, perfectionism, would you consider yourself like now, like would you consider yourself now of an overthinker still? Or do you just like go out and do it?
Okay, if this was a spectrum, because I think this is definitely a spectrum,
Okay.
then it is A or B. But if there was, all right, if overthinking is here and just do it is here, I think I'm right here. So I
Okay.
I do think about stuff, but like when I break it down, like I mentioned before, just like all right, what's like the easiest step or like the first step to do towards that overall goal? It makes it easier to like get things done and not get lost in the sauce.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Nice. I like how everything is kind of coming back full circle with just doing it and what you mentioned about those steps and lost in the sauce. We've been saying that so much. Yeah, that might be the title. How Mike Ike doesn't get lost in the sauce.
All while being light on the wallet.
Light on the wallet too, yeah. How Mike Ike stays light on the wallet and not lost in the sauce. Oh man. Hey Mike, this is a good conversation. This is a good conversation. I'm really glad that we had this conversation. And do you have anywhere that you want to plug real quick before we wrap this up?
Um, hey Mike Ike, all one word on IG and actually all the social platforms, but I'm mostly on IG, so hit me up
Nice.
there.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And he's starting to come back with more content, so y'all be ready for that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all can follow me at Emmanuel LKD on all socials. Make sure to leave a like and comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope you guys got encouragement from what we had to say. Thank you for listening to our conversation, and hope y'all have a great, blessed day. Peace out, y'all.